So first, I will concentrate on convolving the two signals in time domain, that is circular convolution. Convolving in time domain, linear convolution has been studied in previous semester. So you have all gone through that. Now we shall concentrate on convolving the two sequences circularly in time domain. That is the two signals which are periodic in nature and they have the period is equal to capital N, then their convolution is also periodic in nature and the length of convolution will be equal to the length of the period of the signals and the output signal is also periodic with the same period. So consider that we have the two signals xn and hn. Those are periodic with the period of capital N. Then the length of convolution yn, the convolution between the two sequences xn and hn. Now this symbol, a convolution sign and a circle around it represent the circular convolution. It indicates that the xn and hn, they are periodic with the period of capital N. And this output yn is also periodic with the same length n. The convolution of two periodic signal is also periodic and is called as circular convolution, and we represent symbolically like this: yn is equal to x of n circularly convolved with h of n. The mathematical expression is not different than the what we have studied in the previous semester for linear convolution. Both expressions are same, that is yn is equal to summation k from 0 to n minus 1 x of k into h of n minus k. So how they differ from each other then if the formula is same? There the length of convolution is equal to the length of the input signal plus the length of the other signal minus 1. See, overall length is equal to the addition of two lengths minus 1. In this case, the length of convolution is equal to the period of both the signals. So only the differ is in the length of convolution, otherwise expression wise they are same. That is why the linear convolution can be obtained by the circular convolution also by just changing the length of the convolution from n to m plus p minus 1. This is what I have explained in the previous class also. So we say that the linear convolution can be obtained by circular convolution by changing the length of convolution, or if you have the signal xn and hn, those who are finite duration sequences, make their length is equal to capital N, which is equal to m plus p minus 1, m being the length of the signal xn, p being the length of the signal hn, and the length of convolution is m plus p minus 1. So now first in the time domain, let us compute the circular convolution between these two sequences x1 of n and x2 of n, where x1 of n is equal to 2311 and x2 of n is equal to 1353. Now how to obtain this? Am I audible, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You are getting it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So consider, we have seen that the signals, those who are circularly to be shifted, they are first of all to be mounted on a circle, and the circle should be divided in equal parts which is equal to the length of the signal. So let us observe that the length of both this signal is equal to 4. So we divide the circle into 4 equal parts, and these sequences we map it on the circle with these 4 points. So we always start with this right hand side, this the particular point from here, and in the anti-clockwise direction we go on mapping this sequence on the circumference of the circle. So let us map first here 2, 3, 1 and 1. Similarly, we map the sequence x2 of n in the anti-clockwise direction in a similar fashion. The x2 of n is 1, 3, 5 and 3. So these two sequences, they are mapped on a circle. So this time domain approach of how to performing the circular convolution by means of circles, that I am representing you. Now by expression wise, the circular convolution is summation k from 0 to n minus 1, x1 of k into x2 of n minus k. Now in this case, since n is equal to 4, k will be varying from 0 to 3. So summation k from 0 to 3, x1 of k into x2 of n minus k. Now this is x1 of n which is mapped. This n, if I replace with k, this will become x1 of k. Now we require x2 of n minus k. So this is x2 of n. Now I should plot x2 of n minus k. Now what is this x2 of n minus k? x2 of n minus k depends upon the value of n for which we want to obtain the output sequence. N, the sample value for which we want to obtain the output, the instance of output for which we want to compute. So now for example, consider that n is equal to 0. At that time the equation becomes summation k from 0 to 3, x1 of k into x2 of minus k. So now I should have two circles with x1 of k and another one x2 of minus k. Now this x1 of k, this you can visualize, this n is replaced with k, you can consider this as x1 of k. And here you should have x2 of minus k, x2 of minus k. Now how you should plot the x2 of minus k? Now in this case of x2 of k, if you reflect also, you will get the same samples, because here this is also 3 and this sample is also 3. Simply what you have to, instead of plotting the sequence in the anti-clockwise direction, you can plot the sequence in the clockwise direction and you get x2 of minus k. So once if you obtain x2 of minus k, then point wise you have to multiply this 2, obtain the product sequence and add all the samples of this product sequence so that you get y0. Now if I add all these points together, then my y0 will be equal to 19. See here. This 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 9, 19. Therefore, y0 is equal to 19. Now, for the next, that is for n is equal to 1, now I should rotate this x2 of minus k by an amount of 1. Now, x2 of minus 1 plus 1 I want. This plus 1 shift I want. Now on a linear scale to, while rotating the circle for plus 1, you shift it to the left side. So that means in this case on circle, we have to shift it, this particular circle in the anti-clockwise direction. Now when you rotate this circle in anti-clockwise direction, you get x2 of 1 minus k to be mapped like this. The 1 will shift here and then this 3, 5 and this 3. Now once if you obtain a sequence x2 of 1 minus k, again this x2 of 1 minus k and x1 of k, that is they are to be multiplied with each other pointwise. When I say pointwise, this 2 should be multiplied by 3, this 1 should be multiplied by 3, this 3 with this 1 and this 5 with this 1. Now when we multiply this pointwise, the product sequence you get like this 2 into 3 you get 6, 1 into 3 here 3, 3 into 1 is 3 and 5 into 1 is 5. After obtaining the product sequence, now add all the samples of the product sequence. So therefore then y1 will be equal to 17. In a similar fashion, we have to proceed ahead to obtain y2. Now to obtain y2, this x2 of 1 minus k which we have, we just rotate one more times in the anti-clockwise direction. So you get this sequence. Now after pointwise multiplication of this 2, that is x1 of k with x2 of 2 minus k, you will get this product sequence. This 5 into 2 is 10, 3 into 3 is 9, 1 into 1 is 1, 3 into 1 is 3. Now if I add all the samples of this together, y2 you will get it is equal to 23. 9 plus 1 10, 10 plus 10 20 and this 3 23. Now the last sample at 3, one more times rotate the circle of x2 of 2 minus k, you will get the points like this. This is x2 of 3 minus k. Now multiply this 2 point wise. 3 into 2 is 6, 5 into 3 is 15, 3 into 1 is 3 and 1 into 1 is 1. Now add all these samples together. 6 plus 1 is 7, 7 plus 3 is 10, 10 plus 15 is 25. Therefore, y3 is equal to 25. Therefore, my sequence yn now is equal to 19, 17, 23 and 25. Now, this is how you have to proceed to find the convolution in time domain by circular approach, that is by means of circles. Okay. This is just one example I have taken. You can take the different sequences and you can proceed ahead like this. You got this methodology of how to convolve the two sequences using circular approach. Every one of you got this? You have any query on finding the circular convolution by means of this circular approach in time domain? If no answers, I hope that you have all got this and proceed ahead with how to obtain circular convolution by means of DFT, how it has come into DFT. So in DFT, x of n, DFT if it is considered as xk, consider that x of n has DFT xk and hn has DFT hk, then the DFT of the two sequences, DFT of yn, the output sequence, which is a circular convolution between xn and hn, is y of k, which is equal to xk into hk. So convolution in time domain is multiplication in the frequency domain. This is what this property says. Now to prove this property of circular convolution for DFT, x of n circularly convolved with h of n. This symbol I did not wrote it here in the this mathematical equation I put in. So that should be written like this only. Its DFT is xk into hk. This is what the property is. Now to prove this I have. So let us start with the output sequence whose DFT is represented by yk. So yk is equal to DFT of y, which is equal to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 yn into w raised to nkn, where k also takes on the values from 0 to n minus 1. And you know that the convolution between x and y, summation m from 0 to n minus 1 xm into h of n minus m. Now you observe here I have used some other variable m in place of k, because k variable is used as a frequency variable, frequency component in the DFT expression. So here to represent the convolution sign, that instead of k I am using some other variable m. Okay. So yn is equal to summation m from 0 to n minus 1 xm into h of n minus m. This is the expression of convolution, circular convolution. So when I substitute this value of yn in this expression, I get the equations as summation n from 0 to n minus 1, summation m from 0 to n minus 1, xm into h of n minus m, w raised to n k m. Now this part is y of n. This yn in the DFT equation is replaced with this summation expression of convolution. Now what is our observation? This xm is not a variable in n. The variable in n are only these two terms. So what we do is we interchange the order of this summation. So interchanging this order of summation, we can rewrite this expression as yk is equal to summation n from 0 to n minus 1 xm and summation n from 0 to n minus 1 h of n minus m into w raised to n k n. Now, we are continuing this proof. Now what we do is we replace in the second part of summation where we have h of n minus m. There for n of n minus m, I'll replace it with r. So if your n is equal to 0, r will be equal to minus m, and for n where it is equal to n minus 1, r will become equal to n minus m minus 1. Hn and W both are n periodic. So instead of varying r from n minus 1 to n minus m minus 1, what we will do is we will vary this from 0 to n minus 1. This total n minus 0 to n minus 1 number of terms, that is n number of samples we need to take into consideration while performing or evaluating this summation. This summation we evaluate it for n number of terms. So total n number of terms from 0 to n minus 1 we take. Why we take? Because both this H and W, they are periodic with the period of n. So after every interval of n, the sample values will repeat. Since they repeat, whether you vary it from n minus 1 to n minus m minus 1, total n number of points or your 0 to n minus 1 both are same. So we vary this summation from 0 to n minus 1. Now this w raised to r plus mk you split it. When you split it, you will get this as w raised to rkn, w raised to mkn. Now this part, this is hk. This is h of k, and this w raised to mk if you take here, this is x of k. Therefore, we say that y of k is equal to x of k into h of k. Getting this proof? This means the circular convolution in time domain is multiplication in frequency domain. Circular convolution can be obtained by computing the DFT as illustrated here. So if you want to perform the circular convolution, instead of convolving it in time domain, mapping it on a circle, rotating the circle, multiplying the two sequences and adding all the samples, in place of that, what you can do is, you can take the DFT of x of n and obtain xk, and then take the DFT of hn and obtain hk, and next you obtain yn. Yn's DFT is yk. So what you do is you take the product of xk and hk from which you get this yk. So that is this is only if yn is equal to x of n circularly convolved with hn. So you obtain yk, which is x of k into h of k, and take the IDFT of yk. When you take the IDFT of yk, you will get the sequence yn, the output. So this IDFT of yk is nothing but the IDFT of this product sequence xk into hk. This xk and hk, they are to be multiplied sample wise or point wise, they to be multiplied. So now let us do it for the same example which we have just now solved using circular approach. We will solve it by using DFT. Now by using DFT to obtain the circular convolution, we should first find the DFT of x1 of n, that is x1 of k. Then the DFT of x2 of n, that is x2 of k. Once if we obtain the DFTs of these two sequence, x1 of k and x2 of k, we should multiply them. And then we obtain the output DFT, that is yk. Yk is the DFT of the x1 of k into x2 of k. So let us compute DFT of both these sequence. X1 of k is equal to, I use the matrix approach to obtain the DFT, which is easier one. So this is W matrix. To this W matrix, we multiply it with this sequence x1 of n. Now by this row and this column multiplication, we obtain x1 of 0. By the second row and this column multiplication and addition, we obtain x1 of 1, then x1 of 2 and x1 of 3. So if you do that, you will get this as 7, 1 minus 2j, minus 1 and 1 plus 2j. So you can just verify. This is 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1 is 7. The next, when you multiply here with 3, this 3 and minus 1 is, sorry, this 2 and minus 1 is 1 plus 1. This minus 3j and this j is minus 2j here. Then next row, when you multiply this row with this column, 2 minus 3 plus 1 minus 1, and therefore you have minus 1. And similarly here you have 2 and minus 1 is plus 1. This is 3j and this minus 1 plus 2j. So 7, 1 minus 2j, minus 1 and 1 plus 2j. Similarly, you obtain x2 of k. Now you take here x2 of n and multiply rows with column and perform the matrix multiplication and obtain
Ma'am,
x2
cannot
of
hear
k.
your
Yes.
voice, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am,
Yes, yes, ask me what you want. Ask me.
ma'am, the voice is full shaking, ma'am. Can't hear your voice properly, ma'am.
Okay.
One type sound it's some coming, ma'am. Blur sound it's one type sound it's coming, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Just I have logged in with two devices. I will just tweet out from order. Now is it okay? Is it
Yes,
okay now?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So have you understood how to obtain this x1 of k? So if you reply, I will understand whether you are audible to
Yes,
me or not. Okay.
ma'am.
So this once you obtain x1 of k, the next is to obtain x2 of k. Now x2 of k to obtain, you take a matrix of W, and to that we have to multiply with this x2 of n. Take this x2 of n. Now this row and column multiplication you perform and obtain x2 of k. So this is x2 of k, that's 12 minus 4, 0 and minus 4. Once we obtain x1 of k and x2 of k, then we need to multiply this pointwise. You can make use of your calculators, keep them in the complex mode, keep your calculator in a complex mode and perform the multiplication. Pointwise you can multiply 7 into 12 and then 1 minus 2j into minus 4, then minus 1 into 0 is 0 and this 1 plus 2j into minus 4. So you will get yk which is equal to 84 comma minus 4 plus 8j comma 0 comma minus 4 minus 8j. Now once you obtain this yk like this, so understand this yk to obtain this point wise, these two sequences x1 of k and x2 of k we need to multiply and obtain yk. Once we obtain yk, we need to take the IDFT of this. Now to obtain yn from yk, IDFT of yk is, now this should be yn, this is not yk in this expression. Oh, I have written it wrongly. So this should be yn is equal to 1 by 4. Now this matrix is the conjugate of W. Now take a conjugate of W, this is W conjugate 4 matrix, and to that multiply with this 84 minus 4 8j, 0 minus 4 minus 8j. Now when you multiply this row and column matrix multiplication, when you complete, after completing the matrix multiplication, each point should be divided by 4. Now you observe that this matrix multiplication result, you get it as 76, 68, 92 and 100. Then you divide it by 4 and you will get yn. This is not yk again, this is yn. yn is equal to 19, 17, 23 and 25. And you observe that this circular convolution which obtained by DFT is similar to the one which we have obtained by circular approach just at the beginning of this session. Okay. So for linear convolution is using DFT, what we have to do is we have to compute this convolution for the length of 7. Now for the length of 7, what we have to do is we have to find the DFT of Xn for the length 7. We have to find the DFT of Hn for the length 7. Then multiply both the DFTs and obtain Yk and take the IDFT of Yk so that you get this linear convolution of the two, that is Yn. Yn, the convolution between the two Xn and Hn. And that you can verify it using the MATLAB programming when you are doing it. So by using DFT there, it is easier to perform it by program and observe the result for longer if the length of the sequence is larger. At that time, performing it by hand or using pen and a paper is difficult. So at that time, you can make use of the processors. So most of this you can observe it when you are doing a MATLAB programming, and at that time you can verify that. Okay. So x1 of n 7 point DFT you have to find, x1 of k, x2 of n 7 point DFT you have to find, x2 of k, multiply the two DFTs and obtain y of k and take the IDFT of that, you will get yn, that is the linear convolution between these two xn and hn. At that time length of yn will be equal to 7. And when you perform a circular convolution, at that time the length of yn will be equal to 4. So understand the difference between the circular convolution and the linear convolution. The length of circular convolution is equal to the length of both the sequence xn and hn, that is equal length. And the linear convolution's length is equal to the length of the sequence, first sequence plus the length of the second sequence minus 1 is equal to the length of convolution. So this is what I wanted to give you in this class. If you have any doubt, any query, you can ask. If from previous session, if you have any difficulty or the questions which I have asked as assignment, if you have any query, you can ask. Have you got this?